Hello everybody, it's Dragana here from Saacibo. Welcome to my channel. If you watched my last video, you probably know that I've injured my right hand. I'm so happy that it's healing well and that I can go back to my usual activities. However, the time I spent resting it worked really well for me. I had time to think and reinvent and come up with some new ideas. So today I want to share one of these ideas with you. And I want to show you how I make these. They are specimen cards, but not the usual ones. They are a little bit jazzed up, so to speak. When I showed them to my husband and my grandma, they thought they were actually made out of wood, but they're not. And to make them, I had to pull out some cards from under my sleeves, or should I say I had to put all my cards on the table. Really, I'm not joking. It's a nice project for which you need, among other things, playing cards. Just some of these. So if you have an old deck of cards, or the one that is incomplete and you don't know what to do with it, you don't want to throw it away, that would be perfect for this project. You can use them to make these. Another thing that I needed to pull out of my recycling bin is a used coffee filter. I actually, after they're used, I wash them, rinse them and leave them flat to dry. More than one would be preferable. I have a few here. So this paper is quite strong. It's got that nice texture. It's already brown, but with the coffee it has a bit of a stain, so it's already coffee dyed. I don't have to do it. It's really good resource. Okay, another thing that we will need to do this project is some laminating sheets, and a laminator, of course. So something like this, laminating pouches. If you don't have a small ones, just take a bigger piece and cut like I did here, because I used all of these, so I just cut a few to show you. If you don't have a laminator or laminating sheet, you can do this project just with some acetate or some packaging, you know. Just go through your bin and see if you can find anything that has some acetate in it. Just cut a few little pieces and that's fine. I will show you how to do it with the laminator and with the acetate or packaging. You will also need some dried leaves or plants like I have here. Oops, I just broke one. Oh well, I have this one. I collect these during spring and summer, put them in books to dry, and then later on I go through the book and see what they look like, and if they're dry and flat I can use them in my specimen cards. If you don't want to use dry plants, you can also use pictures like this. It's a butterfly, and the pictures would need to be either symmetrical or reversed so that you can glue two together. If you don't have such pictures and you don't know where to get them, you don't need to worry. I created a digital download that you can actually go to my website and download this picture. It's a PDF file, full resolution. It's free. You just download and print on your computer, and it has those reversed pictures like here. So you cut out a small section and you use this line as a guide where to fold like this, and then you put some glue and then you just cut once and it should work. I did that with this one here. The tools that you need for this project are just the usual stuff, apart from the laminator, but like I said, you can do it without it. You'll need scissors, a retractable knife, some ink and stamps for decorating if you want, and you will need glue, obviously. I'm going to be using glue stick, decoupage glue or Mod Podge, and just all-purpose glue or maybe silicone glue, whichever you have. Also, if you decide to do some sewing at the end, you'll need a sewing machine, of course, but it's totally optional, it's not necessary. Another thing that would be great to have for this project is some larger punches. I only have a small one, so I'm not going to be using punches, but I do have a die cut machine, so if you have die cuts and a big shot, scissors, whatever, and you have some shapes that can fit within your playing cards, that would be great to use. If you don't have punches like this one or die cuts, you can certainly still do this project. You will just need to use your knife or scissors perhaps and draw some. Probably I'll just do the squares because it's easier. You just draw a line and you cut it out with a knife and you can still do it. That's not a problem. Alright, so I can't wait to start. First thing, we need to cut out the holes in the cards. I'll just put this away. Let's get our cards. I like to have these sides inside like this, so you will need 2 cards for each specimen cards. And we will put specimens in between. We'll sandwich them in between. And I'll just, you know, you can have one black, one red, doesn't really matter. So, you know, and you also need to choose the shape that you want this cut in. So, for example, this one, I think would look good there. If you're going to use the heart shape one, maybe here. I think square would look good here. Round there. We have an oval. And this one either here or here. Yeah, might look good here. So what I find that if you try to do this, just, you know, place on top and go through this machine or with the punch, because these cards are kind of glossy, they tend to slide and move, and you need them to be somewhat secure because you don't want things moving when you're cutting them. So what I do, I will just add some glue stick, just a little bit like this towards the ends, and later on we'll be able to just pull it out. It's not permanent, so just a little bit so that it doesn't move like that. Set up my scissors die cut machine, and I'm gonna cut 3 at the same time because that's what I can fit. And let's have the heart here, and let's have the oval over here. You can certainly measure this if you want to be exact. I don't, I just place it where I think it looks okay, and then I just go through. This one moved a little bit. It's okay. We can fix it or just leave it. That one turned out well, and this one as well. Okay, so certainly keep those bits, because you can use them to make little tags or charms or something like that, you know, for other projects. So don't throw them away. So I have some that I cut earlier. I have this hexagon, I have a round shape. Let's see what else. So we have this one left, and I just want to show you how you can do it if you don't have a puncher like this. Like if this was bigger, like square, oval or round, I could just, you know, but this is too small and it doesn't even reach to the middle, so I just, you know, I can't show you properly. But with this one I can. I just got another card because when I filmed this part, cutting out this part earlier, I was totally outside of the frame, so I have to actually do it again. But I don't have any of the cards with the same symbol, so I'm just going to use this one, but it's the same principle. So I want to have that shape cut out here approximately like that. So I will leave about 1/4 of an inch from the sides and also from where these symbols end. So we need to cut one more. When you do it this way, I'd suggest do them separate, because even if you put more glue, they're just, you know, going to move and cause difficulty. So what I do, I just trace like that, and then cut. There it is. That's this way. It's close enough. I think it looks okay. And we're going to decoupage the paper over it, so it's going to be just fine. So that's the way to do it if you don't have a puncher or a die cut machine. next thing we need to do is cut coffee filters to the size of the cards, but make them a little bit bigger than the cards themselves. So I just do it this way. I fold it in half like so and just cut around using scissors. And I leave a little bit off. I don't worry about the middle, we'll do that later, like so. Okay, so that's enough for one of the specimen cards, because we need to put that on both sides like that. And I could probably get one more out of this coffee filter. Yeah, I do. Okay, so with 2 coffee filters you will have enough paper to cover 3 of the specimen cards. Okay, I have cut all the coffee filters approximately to size. We will need to decoupage on both sides. So this is actually the messy part of doing this project. I just have some, packaging here, and I'm going to be taking one at a time. And I have here transfer and decoupage medium, which is actually a glue. It's like Mod Podge, and just squeeze some. Use a soft brush. If your glue or decoupage medium is too thick, by all means add a bit of water and make it easier to work with. I don't want to add any water because it might cause the cards to buckle up, so I'll just use it as it is. So what I do, I just go over the card with it like so, and then I place this coffee filter paper. I hope I'm in the frame. And then I use the glue again on top. Just like you would with a napkin or a serviette. Okay, make sure you get all the air bubbles out. If you don't, it's also not a big deal. It will just be more interesting perhaps, so we'll have some more texture. I find the texture once it's dry, it's almost like wood grain. And when you're working with serviettes, you have to be really careful so they don't tear. With this paper, yeah, it's kind of I don't know, it's actually difficult to tear. You have to have sharp scissors. Alright, so one side is done. Now let's do the other side. It's best to push the glue from the center out, because the centers we're going to cut anyway, so it doesn't matter. You can have that as a dry spot where you can put your finger, hold it in place. Yep, that one's done too. As you can see, I'm down to the last one. The ones that I've done first have already started to dry, but before I can continue using them, they would definitely have to dry completely. So you can speed up the process using heat gun or your hair dryer, but I just like to leave them to dry on their own. And in the meantime, I will show you how to actually laminate or make those specimens with just glue and acetate. For this step you need some dried leaves, flower petals, you know, whatever plant material you might have, or if you don't have it or you don't want to use it, you need pictures that are double-sided like this butterfly. And like I mentioned at the beginning, if you don't have such pictures, just go to my website and download this image for free. It's a PDF file, full resolution. Download it to your computer and print it out on your regular printer. And I'll just quickly show you how to make one. This is this one. I cut it out, fold along this line, and just add a bit of glue. Like this. And now all I need to do is just cut once. And it looks good on both sides. Perhaps a bit of ink around would be good as well, just to get rid of that white edge. Perfect. So very easy to do. Alright. I'm still waiting on my laminating machine, laminator, whatever it's called, to tell me that it's ready. In the meantime, I thought I'll show you how to do it without the laminator. So just get a piece of acetate, perhaps in some recycled packaging or, you know, whatever, and cut approximately the size of the card. You know. And you need two. So let's cut one more. Just roughly. Okay. So what we need to do, make sure this is clean, and let's get that picture. Just move this a little bit to the side. Okay. And I'll get that same decoupage glue that I used earlier, and a soft brush. So just get a bit of glue and spread around gently. That. And then you place it in the middle of that acetate. And try not to move it too much. If it doesn't land in the middle, it doesn't really matter, we will cut it. But you don't want to get the glue smeared all over it. So now pick up that acetate with the picture and just add a little bit of the glue, but try not to get it onto the acetate, just on the image. It doesn't have to go all the way to the edges, as long as it's close enough. Okay, and you get that other piece of acetate and you just press. must say it's much easier to do it with laminator, but the result is actually better with this acetate, because with laminator you get that edge around the image that, you know, you might not like. This way it's actually flat. So let's do one more with the flower petal. Okay, clean the dust off and get that flower petal. Should probably put something underneath here. So I get the glue and I just gently spread on the flower petal. Just like that. So now the same as before, you just add a bit of glue on this side as well, but try not to get it on the actual acetate, just on the petal. I think it looks really good. So totally do it without the laminator. Okay, my laminator is ready, so I'll just show you how to do it that way as well. I had some of these that I bought, I don't even know where, can't remember, and I used them all up, but I had the packaging. They are the pouches, laminating card pouches, and they are perfect because you don't need to do any cutting. You just slide in picture or the plant material, you see, and it's perfect. But I don't have any, so I'll just cut out from A4 sheet laminating pouch. I cut out 2 of the pieces, so I'm just going to use them. So this way, what you do, you lift up one side, take your leaf for example, and just place, and the picture, it's just the same, place the picture, and here I want to draw the butterfly antenna. I might do it actually later. Okay, so just like that. Let's move this closer. So let's see if it's gonna take it. Yes. Here is our leaf. Now you can compare. You see when you laminate, you get that bit of air showing around. It just shows a bit of an edge, while you don't get that with this. But either is fine, I think. And the same with the butterfly. Here you don't have the edge around, and over here you do. I hope you can see this. Alright, you can turn this off. I have plenty of specimens. Now with the butterflies, because when I was cutting, I cut off the antenna, I just use a Sharpie permanent marker, and I just draw the antennas now, like that. Just a little marking, that's fine, just so that they don't look like they've been cut. You can do it both sides, but I think just on one side is enough. So that is the laminating part. Some of the cards are still not dry, but the first few that I've done, they are okay to use. So what I do now, I just trim the excess off like this. Really, just go around and you cut it close to the edge, like so. This part here can be a bit tricky, but it's not actually. Just get smaller scissors and cut not all the way to the edge, just leave about 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 centimeter away from the edge. Right, now here you make an incision like that. This is for the heart shape. And here, now over here you need to cut away this little bit. And then just make a few little cuts around this circular part. Just like that. Okay, now where's my glue stick? Okay, so now what I do is I put some this glue stick, but I don't actually spread it. It gets everywhere. You just dab a little bit like that. It doesn't really matter if it doesn't stick all the way, but this is just to help you. So now what you do, you just fold all these bits over like that. And because we made those little cuts, the paper can spread around and it will give you a nice heart shape on the other side. Right? So that is a heart-shaped opening. So we need to do the same for this. I had to stop the camera for a while just to check if I was in the frame when I was showing you, and I realized some of the recording I've actually been doing things over here and instead of here. So I'll show you again how to do the hexagon one. Hopefully this time I'll be in the frame. So you make little cuts from the corner towards the center. I find that this one is much easier to do with a knife, like that. And then you just cut. this circular one, I just do a cut like that across. And then just lots of small cuts all the way around. The same with the oval shape, I already cut this. Okay, and then you take the glue, you just dab and fold over. Go. Only this one left. Alright, now before we actually start putting everything together, I like to ink around the openings. So I'm just gonna use hickory smoke and they already look old and vintagey, but I just want to emphasize this opening, and this part can be inked later on when they are all glued, and definitely before you sew them if you're gonna be doing the sewing. Now what I do is just take my specimens and I decide which one looks good in which frame. So I want to use this butterfly probably in the square one. Yep. So I'll just match them like that. think that would be it. We'll leave these for another session. Now for this part, I will need some of that. Either use the all-purpose glue, the stronger one, acetone based, or a silicone glue. I think I'm gonna be using some silicone glue. This is the one I bought yesterday. It should be good, they told me, but I'll try it. I haven't tried it before. And we need the card. Let's do this one first. So I'll just make little marks where I need to cut the excess off. So you want to have enough to cover the opening, but not all the way to the end. So yeah. And I'll just use my scissors. And make sure when you're gluing it onto the wrong side. Let's just check if you see, if I turn it this way, because I didn't measure and it's not exactly in the middle, so you have to make sure with all of these that you put them in the right position before you actually start gluing. Okay, you open it up and now you place the glue just around the edges of the opening. Ooh, this nozzle is a bit big. I'll just spread some of that glue away because I put too much. Okay. I like this glue already. It seems to dry fast. That's a good position. Now, with this one, we put glue all the way around. Just spread it a bit, because I don't want it seeping everywhere. To press it well and just leave it underneath something heavy. What do we have that is heavy? A book that I didn't bring. Oh, this is heavy. Let's just put that. Oh well. Okay. Let's do the next one. Before I continue, I have to put something here to protect my neck. Probably this will do. Okay, let's do the butterfly, the round one. So again, we need to mark where to cut. Yeah, I would cut it straight, although it is a round shape, but it's just easier. come in the frame. Alright, I'll quickly finish those two and I'll be back. They are all glued down and I think they look just beautiful. Even if we do nothing else to them, I think they look great. So what I do now, I have this stamp, the self-inking one, you know, the one where you actually can put your own little letters there, and this one says specimen number, and I like to just stamp now before I actually take it to the sewing machine. So I'll just, this doesn't have to be perfect, just like that. If you have any other stamps or writing, or you don't have to do anything, but I like to add this Now, which way should we? That way or that way? I think this way. Now I like to add some random numbers. I mean, they don't have to be random, but I do it randomly anyway. Just do number 5, and I use this ink. It could be Stays On, whatever you have. I have this one. We just test it. So we have here number 5. Just do 5. Stamp all of them. Yep. If you don't have any stamps, you can leave them plain, or you can actually write by hand, which is fine, especially if you have nice handwriting. So now I like to ink around the edges a little bit, or we can have some of these silver paste, oops, like that, or ink gold, whatever you have, or you just leave them plain. But I'll just do this one, for example, just with this hickory smoke. I had to stop recording for a while, my memory card got full, and while I was transferring the videos to my computer, I actually inked around all of these, and figured out this is the much quicker way to do it. Just use the whole pad like that, and it just worked really well. So inking is done. Alright, now as you can see in the prototypes that I made, I used some silver wax, is it finger metallic wax or paste, and this one I used gold, and this one I actually did the whole back with gold. So I'm gonna be playing with that a little bit. I'll just see which one would look better with gold and which one would look better with silver. So I think the purple ones look nice with silver, and I will use gold maybe on the ones with butterflies, I don't know, and I'll just leave these without. I think I'll just use my fingers. And because this paper has that kind of texture, almost like leather, it's kind of leathery, and it's got those I don't know, it just has that, I don't know the word. Anyway, so when you brush something like this over it, these little lines and wrinkles tend to pop out, and they just become more obvious. And I like how the card symbols and numbers are showing through and just adding to that grungy look. gold really looks good on these darker areas. Yesterday was the first day of the autumn in Northern Hemisphere, and you know, it's so cold today. I was surprised that the change will be so swift, but they forecasted some nice weather for the weekend. I have some of the bronze paste as well. Let's try. Let's see. Maybe on this one. That's it. Ooh. I'm liking it. Doesn't seem like I put much on my finger, but it's actually quite a lot. Smells almost like oil paint. I love it. Let's do this side as well. Okay. Good. Now I'll take them to my sewing machine, and I want to do some, you know, either straight stitch or zigzag stitch like this, and I'll just quickly do it and I'll show you the end result. I did some zigzag stitching around these. I put straight stitching for that one and this one as well. More zigzag. I'm so happy how they turned out. I'm really happy. These are the ones that I've done earlier. They also look so good. You can add eyelets to these, you know, like I did here. Turn them into tags or charms, whatever. More stamping, up to you. But to think that we turned some coffee filter paper and cards into this, I don't know, I'm speechless. I'm really happy. I hope you like this as well, and if you made it to the end without skipping, well done. Don't forget to download your free digital image, which is this one. Just follow the link in the description box below. Thank you so much for joining me today. I had so much fun. I hope you had fun too. Take care, and I see you soon. Bye.